to have your first iteration, you need first to look, dapat itong bubang ito, or the zero should always be, all the values should be positive. Pag positive na siya lahat, ibig sabihin, nasa optimum value na tayo. But as long as may negative pang value, ibig sabihin, will not stop our iteration until we get all this one positive. Kapag ang ating problem is a maximization problem. If it is a minimization problem, dapat lahat ito ay negative. Pag maximization, dapat lahat siya ay positive. Pag minimization, dapat lahat ng ito ay negative, maliban sa z. For you to get it, for you to get the next iteration table, you need to look for the most negative value. As you could see, ang most negative value natin ay negative 40. Meaning to say, x1, we could say that x1 would be the new entering variable. Ibig sabihin, sa next table, siya ay magiging basic variable na. Kung ano yung most negative na column, or na column, most negative column, yung variable niya ang magiging bagong basic variable later. Let's now first know kung alin yung papalitan niya, alin ang aalis. Kung may entering, syempre may living variable, maalin kay S1 or kay S2. For us to know kung alin yung living variable, let's look at its right hand side and yung ating pivot column. As you can see, our right hand side and pivot column is highlighted. For us to know kung alin ang ating kukuhanin or alin ang living variable, we need to subtract, we need to divide, or we need to get the minimum positive ratio of the right hand side and the pivot column. Ano ibig sabihin? We need to get the ratio of right hand side divided by the pivot column, kung saan man ang pivot column niyan. Meaning sabihin, siya ay 600 divided by 4 and 480 divided by 2. We need to get its minimum positive ratio. So you can see, 600 divided by 4 is equivalent to 150, and 480 divided by 2 is equivalent to 240. You can see that the minimum positive ratio, ang pinakamaliit na positive value sa kanila is yung 150. Meaning to say, our living variable is S1 and our entering variable is X1. Meaning to say, on the next table, si X1 na ang nandito. Wala na dito si S1. As you can see, meron tayong intersection point. And your intersection point 4 is called your pivot number. What do you mean your pivot number? Saan siya ginagamit? On the next table, on our next table, kasunod daw na table, dapat, in our next table, dapat, let's delete this one. Delete natin. On the next table, your pivot element should be 1. And the rest of its values of the column should be 0. Yun yung ating target. Ulitin ko. Your pivot number should be 1, equivalent to 1 at the end of the second table, and the rest of the values of the column should be equivalent to 0. Let's make it that way. Paano natin siya gagawin? Para maging 1 ito, for this value to become 1, we could divide the whole row by 4. Pwede nating having this equation. Let's create equations. We could divide the whole equation, the old R1 by 4 para siya ay maging 1. Divided by 0 divided by 4, 0. 0 divided by 1, 1. 2 divided by 4, 1 half. 2 divided by 1 divided by 4, 1/4. 0 divided by 4, 0. 600 divided by 4 is 150. Paano magiging 0 itong 2? Kasi yun nga yung ating target na gawin. Use our target. Paano siya gagawin? We could have an equation of negative 2 times yung ating pivot row plus 2 is equals to 0. Ano ibig sabihin? We could have an equation of negative 2 times yung pivot row plus yung papalta. Ganyan lang lagi yung format.